Alright guys, in this video we're going to be talking about REST APIs. So let's get started. So as you can see here on my whiteboard, an API is an application programming interface. And the REST part of the API is the representational state transfer. So let's talk more about what these two mean. So first, an API. Now, let's say that we have two applications or two pieces of software, right? One is some Python software, and the other is our front-end JavaScript software. So we're going to say JavaScript here, and our Python. All right, and we also have a database. All right, so we'll call this our DB. And this application is a sign-up form. All right, we'll say it's a sign-up form. So let's just label this sign-up form. Okay, and what a sign-up form does is you enter a username and password, maybe even an email, depending on what type of website it is. I mean, it could be any piece of data, and it just takes that and it puts it into your database. It's pretty simple. So, but on this, right, we need to make sure that the username that you enter is not already in the database, or that the account that you or the username that you have entered is not already taken, right? And we want to do this because if you put that into the database, when you're signing in and using the username, it'll get mixed up between the two, and that can lead into problems. So what we want to do is we want to ask our database if the username that we've entered is in our database, right? And then if it is, then we want to tell them, well, sorry, you can't have this username, it's already taken. If it's not, then we just go on with the process of putting the data into our database. So what we can do is we can just ask the database, right? So let's request some data. Sorry about that. So let's request some data, right? So what we want to do is we want to request some data to the database, and this is our request. Now, this is pretty simple, right? We can do this. But you will not, and then you're like, all right, well, why even want this Python, right? We can just X it out. Well, that is not the traditional, I mean, you can do it this way, right? Don't get me wrong about that, but it's not the most efficient or best way to do it. This is for two major reasons. And I'll be talking about them, probably the most important, which is our security. So, right, this is because, with the Control-Shift-I, people can't see into your database, and we don't really want people seeing into our usernames and passwords, right? That can lead into a lot of problems, because, maybe it's not, like, that important, and it might just be like a name, or any security is important, right? But and if you're like, all right, it's okay if people see it's only like small application. Well, it also does help on different devices for a number of reasons, which we'll talk about in a bigger course on APIs. But for now, just focus on this security reason. Okay, so we do want Python, so let's create that. So that's why we have our Python software, is because this is the traditional way, or this is probably the best way to do it. Okay, is this Python? It talks to the database. Okay, and our JavaScript gives requests to the Python. And let's say, all right, Python, tell me if there are any keys matching this username in our database. So the Python is like, all right, cool. It goes into the database, it checks all the keys, or communicates with the database, gets a response from the database, and then gives a response back. All right, so that's our model, and this whole interface is our API. Yep. So the interface that allows us to do all these tasks, request and get a response, is through our application programming interface. So we talked about our APIs. Now let's talk about what REST is. So, all right, cool. I guess we have an API. We found the use of an API. Now let's talk about what REST is. And REST is just the method of communication. Okay, I mean, not method, the means of communication is probably a better word to describe it. So, for example, in the English language, right? By the way, if there's any background noise, sorry for that. In the English language, right? Let's say I want to talk to my friend Joey, name out of nowhere. I can talk to him in many different ways now, right? Maybe I can go over to his house and I can just talk with him, right? Maybe I can just get my phone and I can talk with him. So, how are you communicating? Is it Magnitude to me? Is it the phone? Is it person to person? Is it telephone line, right? The way that you're communicating. And that's essentially what REST is. So these requests and response, the way that they're. So I hope you guys understand what the means of communication are. It's just how you're communicating. So you can kind of see how where representational state transfer is kind of coming into picture. So there's four main ways to the four main means of communication are get, post, put, and delete. So let's write these down here. Okay. So our first is our get. So we'll write this here. Okay. So our get So our get just allows us to request data. And the reason why I am not using get data is just because we said request there. Our next one is a post. And this allows us to write data. Right. Our third one is a put. And this allows us to update data. Right? And our last one is delete. And this just allows us to delete data. So this is pretty straightforward. All right, guys. So these are our means of communication: get, post, put, and delete. And there are a few more that I'm not talking about because these are probably the main ones that you're going to use. And yeah, so that's a pretty good, oversimplified, but a pretty good understanding of REST APIs. In the next video, we'll be talking about the differences between a regular API and a REST API. And I will be creating a full course on APIs, which basically take you from this to being able to actually use APIs and create pieces of software with using APIs. So yeah, so that's it for this video. We talked about what APIs are, the abbreviations for API and REST. We talked about applications and examples to how to use them. And we talked about the different means of communication, get, post, put, and delete. All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed this video and understood this and are eager to learn more about APIs, I will be creating a lot more courses in the future that you can look at to see all the latest notifications. Click that red subscribe button below this video, and you'll be able to see all the recommendations for the videos that I'm watching. Once again, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.